Here we go. Cheers.
Let's go. Cheers.
Ooh.
Mead, a fermented honey wine that's been enjoyed around the world for centuries, but it's something that I've never tried to make before. I've gotten close with maple syrup, but there's really no replacing the crucial component of honey. So today I'm teaming up with Man Made Mead to figure out if it's possible to make a mead without honey. And if so, will it be any good? I'm BruSho, and this is the BruSho. Let's make a vegan mead. So what the f*** is a vegan mead? Well, it really comes down to honey, which is a product from bees, making it non-vegan friendly. It's not that all bees get treated badly. There are a lot of apiaries out there that are treating bees with extreme care and caution. There's no denying the vital importance that bees have in our ecosystem, and I salute the beekeepers out there doing their job to keep the bee population thriving. But none of that changes the fact that it still requires an animal to make honey. For the growing segment of the population that chooses to eat plant-based, it brings up a dilemma. Do you consume honey or not? I'm not here to say what's right and wrong or how to live your life, but I am here to help people that love to ferment and brew and don't want to be limited or cut off from a whole wonderful world of fermentations called mead. So what the heck are they supposed to do? Well, not until recently, with the rise of veganism, did new products pop up that attempt to mimic the look and taste of real honey without the need for bees. One such company is the Single Origin Food Co. with their brand of UnHoneys. There are a few other companies doing similar things, but what Single Origin does is make 3 varieties of honey: a blonde made from coconut nectar, an amber made from cane nectar, and a copper made from date nectar, each purporting to have different flavors and even saying they have floral and fruity notes. The first time I saw this product, I was honestly pretty shocked. I never thought anyone could replicate honey, but my second thought was immediately to making a mead type drink. And it just so happens my buddy Man Made Mead is an expert on the topic. He's been posting mead making videos for over 5 years and has done countless mead experiments, trying all kinds of variables and new ingredients. So when he had me on his podcast and we began to talk about it, he was extremely curious. From there, the idea really snowballed and a collab was born. The idea for this experiment would be for each of us to brew up a vegan mead using UnHoney. Mine would be drier, and I would use blueberries to flavor it, and he would make a sweeter one, with lemons and other citrus. Then we would trade our final products, taste them to see if they turned out good, and then finally blend them together to see if that would make the ultimate beeless mead. With a plan in mind, I immediately jumped into making it. Having never made a mead, the first step was to head over to the Man Made Mead channel and binge a few beginner toots.
Today, I'm going to teach you how to make a mead from start to finish. I'm going to pour this back in and actually add my yeast. I'm putting 2.5 grams, or I'm mixing it up really well.
I hope this video has helped you. Go make some mead. Share this video with a friend if you enjoyed it. And thank you so much for watching. Cheers.
With some XP gained, I pulled everything together. It all starts with the UnHoney. I'll be using about 3 of the 8-ounce blonde variety and 1.5 of the amber type. These taste super sweet and are actually thick like honey and even crystallized like honey, but they do lack that floral depth that honey can have. The next vital part is the yeast. I'm going for a E47, which is said to be great for fermenting Chardonnay, but can allegedly make a nice dry mead as well. Along with the yeast, I'll be adding some yeast nutrients. Since I'm not sure how much will be in this honey to promote a healthy fermentation, I'll be using a combo of Fermento and DAP. Now let's talk about fruit. We decided I'll be doing a blueberry mead, one of Man Made Mead's favorite flavors, and mine too. So I'll be using these wild blueberries, about 2 pounds, that were frozen and then thawed. And then per his recommendation, I added some pectic enzyme to the fruit. Pectic enzyme will help break down the fruit even further, extracting more of that berry goodness and juice. I added the enzyme to the fruit as it thawed for 1 hour. The last component is just water, just sticking with some store-bought for a clean slate. From there, it was all about getting into the fermenter, adding in about a gallon of water to get started, and then the honey. Pro tip is to either put the honey somewhere warm or put it on a heat pad to get it loose. I just kind of started adding it bottle by bottle because I wasn't sure how sweet or sugary it was. Adding a bit more water and more honey until we hit that 2-gallon mark. I then checked the gravity and saw we were at 1.060, which was perfect for this recipe. Next, I added the yeast nutrients, and usually I would just toss it all in, but after watching those Man Made Mead videos, I thought I'd try staggered additions for this, since it seems to be a common practice for meads, helping the yeast slowly absorb in the nutrients over time. So So using this nutrient addition calculator, I found out how much to add in for my original gravity and volume. Gotta love online calcs. At this point, the fruit and pectic enzyme had been chilling for a while, so it was time to add it in. I decided to add it to a little muslin bag to keep the fruit from getting stuck in the spigot. I then tossed in the yeast, followed by the fruit bag. Thanks to the pectic enzyme, I was already seeing some color change. I was pumped to see how this would come out, so I closed it up, popped on an airlock, and set it in my fermentation chamber, aka kegerator, set to 65 degrees. And by the next day, it was popping off. Literally, my airlock was full of blueberry juice, and was spilling out a little bit. So I quickly switched over to a blow-off tube. Probably should have given a little bit more headspace on this one. But either way, it fermented out beautifully by the end of the week. And I followed the staggered nutrient addition steps, adding a little bit each day for the next few days. And taking a sample, it was tasting really good. Gravity had stopped around 0.995. Wow, super dry. And it brings the ABV to 8.5%. From there I kegged it up and set it to about 30 psi for a few days before backing down to around 12 psi. At which point I bottled it up using this, the last straw. A super fun way to bottle things up from a keg. It uses CO2 and a connection to your keg, and then you can purge the bottle with CO2 and fill it up from the bottom. Big thanks to Northern Brewer for sending one my way. Be sure to check them out if you're looking for a way to bottle your brews from a keg. Once they were packaged, I tossed them in a box and shipped them out to Man Made Mead to get the master's opinion on whether or not this crazy experiment worked. Hey Garrett, thanks for joining me here.
What's up, Trent?
What's going on, man? I appreciate you coming to me with this challenge. I know we talked on your podcast. You know, when I mentioned on the podcast that there is a vegan mead, you know, the idea immediately came to me, and I'm glad that you're down to give this a shot.
Oh, I mean, if you know my channel, I'm willing to try about anything. And this was pretty fun. The honey you sent was really honey quotes around. I don't know, yeah. Was really interesting. And so it was a lot of fun to play with. So I'm excited to taste yours. We're going to start with yours, right?
Let's pour some up and give it a taste.
Oh, look at that color, dude.
Yeah. You had mentioned to me, like, because I was using the blueberry, that I should throw in pectic enzyme, which is kind of it's something that I'm aware of from like my winemaking days, but I haven't used in years. And I'm really glad I did. I feel like it really helped extract a lot of the juices and flavors.
Well, here we go. I want to try it now. This looks super good. I'm excited.
Cheers.
Oh yeah. What's interesting about this, I'm going to keep air quoting this, honey, is it, you know, they really tried to pronounce a floral side for honey without, of course, using the bee side. Which
I was super curious to see if any of that would come through, or if it would just all ferment out and like leave nothing behind.
Mine went dry. I don't know about yours.
Mine went really dry, but I don't know, when I taste this, it has like some sweetness, I feel like, left to it. It's not like completely bone dry.
It's got like earthy, blueberry, earthy sweetness to it. It's kind of fun. Dude, I'm excited. This is super good. I love blueberries. Blueberries are like one of my favorite things to play with mead. And so it's a lot of fun especially to have someone else's blueberry mead.
Yeah. Oh, that means a lot, because this is my first ever like attempt at anything like this. So how do you think it like compares to like a regular honey mead, like as far as the flavor?
It's missing the floral stuff is not there. You just can't emulate that. What the bees do, whatever they're pollinating on, they produce such a interesting floral source. There is the sugar content, which is nice, and there's maybe a little bit of that floral I'm talking about, but it's like if a regular mead is 100%, we're at like 25. So we're missing. That's kind of the biggest drawback of this. But I think you've done a great job. I mean, it tastes really good.
Pretty. Sweet. Yeah, I mean, it's very drinkable, especially for, I think it's like 8.5%. Like, I wouldn't like know that, you know, just drinking it, but it was like a complete shot in the dark. I really had no idea if this stuff would even like make anything drinkable. So I'm glad to have something that is this good.
Yeah, dude. Okay, well, how about this? I have a third glass. I don't know if you brought a
I got a third glass too. I got
okay.
One. Yeah.
So as far as ratios, I don't know how to do this well, other than to say like a 50-50. That's kind of what I'm going to do.
That sounds good. All right, I'm just going to drink a little more of yours to get it even.
Oh yeah, I need to.
Try not to make a mess.
Yeah, right on top of my computer. All right, so now we have this blend. blueberry and lemon and a little bit of orange in there too.
Yeah.
Color, I think it's a pretty cool color.
Yeah, it's got like a cherry tone to it almost, like a little bit of that. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Cheers.
Let's go. Cheers.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It has like the best of both worlds. Like it balances, it takes like that sweetness and the dryness from mine, kind of brings them together. But then also the marry of the citrus and the blueberry is really, it's really nice.
The earthy blueberry side that's like that darkness, and then you have like the lemon and orange up here. But then I feel like you get a little bit of that honey character in the middle of all of that kind of sandwich. That's providing the sweetness, of course, a little bit of floral side, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, this is great. I think you're right. I think like the fruits that we added bring like what is probably missing from if we were just to do like a straight, honey mead.
Yeah.
So I think that was a great idea.
Yeah. Dude, this is good. And I think blueberry and lemon are going to pair well together. And I mean, I think we can definitely confirm that at this point.
Yes, for sure. And I'm glad that you sent me 3 bottles because I'll be doing this all week.
Yeah. No, seriously though. And I got a whole other one of these. This is going to be great. This was such a fun experiment. I got to try some really interesting variation on honey, so to speak. And then I've never done this. I've never brewed a beverage to blend it with someone else's. And it kind of added a challenge of like, well, I want mine to be good standalone, but I also want it to be helpful to this other person.
I love the fact that they complement each other. They're not very contrasting. They bring something different to the game and make an awesome final product.
Well, Trent, it has been a blast. I look forward to hopefully doing some more stuff. Maybe not the same thing, of course. Maybe there's a world where we brew a beer and we do like a braggot style with this kind of honey and see what happens. So
I'm totally down for whatever you got in plan. So,
all right, dude. Until next time.
Thanks again for doing this with me.
Absolutely. We'll see you again soon. Cheers.
All right. Cheers. So a vegan mead isn't exactly a real mead, but it's still damn good. The blueberries came through strong, which did a lot to make this really tasty, and the dryness made it extremely crushable. But I'm happy to at least get close and show that if you don't eat honey, you can still make something mead-like thanks to these honey alternatives. It's a bit like vegan meats. It's not 100% the same, but it's at least in the ballpark, and it has its own qualities that make it great. A massive thank you to Garrett for joining me on this adventure and teaching me the ways of the mead life. If you want to learn and know everything you can about mead making, be sure to head over to his channel. He has a bunch of awesome beginner tutorials, experiments, and recipes. And if you want to see how his vegan mead is made and see the full tasting, click on this video right now.